Barack Obama, born August 4th, 1961, Honolulu, Hawaii. U.S. 44th President of the United States to 00917 and the first African American to hold the office before winning the presidency. Obama represented Illinois in the U.S. Senate to 00508. He was the third African American to be elected to that body since the end of Reconstruction 1877. In 2009, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his extraordinary efforts to strengthen international diplomacy and cooperation between peoples. Obama's father, Barack Obama Sr., was a teenage Gothard in rural Kenya, won a scholarship to study in the United States, and eventually became a senior economist in the Kenyan government. Obama's mother, S. and Dunham, grew up in Kansas, Texas, and Washington State before her family settled in Honolulu. In 1960, she and Barack Sr. met in a Russian language class at the University of Hawaii and married less than a year later. When Obama was age 2, Barack Sr. left to study at Harvard University shortly thereafter in 1964. And Barack Sr. divorced. Obama saw his father only one more time during a brief visit when Obama was 10, later and remarried, this time to another foreign student, Lolo Sotoro from Indonesia, with whom she had a second child, Meyer. Obama lived for several years in Jakarta with his half-sister, mother, and stepfather. While there, Obama attended both a government-run school, where he received some instruction in Islam, and a Catholic private school where he took part in Christian schooling. He returned to Hawaii in 1971 and lived in a modest apartment, sometimes with his grandparents and sometimes with his mother. She remained for a time in Indonesia, returned to Hawaii, and then went abroad again partly to pursue work on a Ph.D. before divorcing Sotoro in 1984. A brief period. His mother was aided by government food stamps, but the family mostly lived a middle-class existence. In 1979, Obama graduated from Panahu School, an elite college preparatory academy in Honolulu. Obama attended Occidental College in suburban Los Angeles for 2 years and then transferred to Columbia University in New York City, where in 1983 he received a bachelor's degree in political science, influenced by professors who pushed him to take his studies more seriously. Obama experienced great intellectual growth during college, and for a couple of years thereafter, he led a rather ascetic life and read works of literature and philosophy by William Shakespeare, Friedrich Nietzsche, Toni Morrison, and others. After serving for a couple of years as a writer and editor for Business International Corp., a research, publishing, and consulting firm in Manhattan, he took a position in 1985 as a community organizer on Chicago's largely impoverished Far South Side. He returned to school 3 years later and graduated magna cum laude in 1991 from Harvard University's Law School, where he was the first African American to serve as president of the Harvard Law Review, while a summer associate in 1989. At the Chicago law firm of Sidley Austin, Obama had met Chicago native Michelle Robinson, a young lawyer at the firm. The two married in 1992. After receiving his law degree, Obama moved to Chicago and became active in the Democratic Party. He organized Project Vote, a drive that registered tens of thousands of African Americans on voting rolls and that is credited with helping Democrat Bill Clinton win Illinois and capture the presidency in 1992. The effort also helped make Carol Moseley Braun, an Illinois state legislator, the first African-American woman elected to the U.S. Senate. During this period, Obama wrote his first book and saw it published, the memoir Dreams from My Father, 1995. Is the story of Obama's search for his biracial identity by tracing the lives of his now-deceased father and his extended family in Kenya. Obama lectured on constitutional law at the University of Chicago and worked as an attorney on civil rights issues. In 1996, he was elected to the Illinois Senate, where, most notably, he helped pass legislation that tightened campaign finance regulations, expanded health care to poor families, and reformed criminal justice and welfare laws. In 2004, he was elected to the U.S. Senate, defeating Republican Alan Keyes in the first U.S. Senate race, in which the two leading candidates were African Americans. While campaigning for the U.S. Senate, Obama gained national recognition by delivering the keynote address at the Democratic National Convention in July 2004. The speech wove a personal narrative of Obama's biography with the theme that all Americans are connected in ways that transcend political, cultural, and geographical differences. The address lifted Obama's once obscure memoir onto best-seller lists, and after taking office the following year, Obama quickly became a major figure in his party. A trip to visit his father's home in Kenya in August 2006 gained international media attention, and Obama's star continued ascending. His second book, The Audacity of Hope 2006, a mainstream polemic on his vision for the United States, was published weeks later, instantly becoming a major bestseller. In February 2007, he announced at the old state capitol in Springfield, Illinois, where Abraham Lincoln had served as a state legislator, that he would seek the Democratic Party's presidential nomination in 2008. For coverage of the 2008 election, see United States presidential election of 2008. Obama's personal charisma, stirring oratory, and his campaign promise to bring change to the established political system resonated with many Democrats, especially young and minority voters. On January 3, 2008, Obama won a surprise victory in the first major nominating contest, the Iowa caucus, over Sen. Hillary Clinton, who was the overwhelming favorite to win the nomination. 5 days later, however, Obama finished second to Clinton in the New Hampshire primary, and a bruising and sometimes bitter primary race ensued. Obama won more than a dozen states, including Illinois, his home state, and Missouri, a traditional political bellwether on Super Tuesday. February 5th, no clear frontrunner for the nomination emerged, however, as Clinton won many states with large populations, such as California and New York. Obama produced an impressive string of victories later in the month, handily winning the 11 primaries and caucuses that immediately followed Super Tuesday, which gave him a significant lead in pledged delegates. His momentum slowed in early March when Clinton won significant victories in Ohio and Texas. Though still maintaining his edge in delegates, Obama lost the key Pennsylvania primary on April 22nd. 2 weeks later, he lost a close contest in Indiana, but won the North Carolina primary by a large margin, widening his delegate lead over Clinton. She initially had a big lead in so-called superdelegates. Democratic Party officials allocated votes at the convention that were unaffiliated with state primary results, but With Obama winning more states and actual delegates, many peeled away from her and went to Obama. On June 3rd, following the final primaries in Montana and South Dakota, the number of delegates pledged to Obama surpassed the total necessary to claim the Democratic nomination.